Okay. I have a message that I've been meaning to get out all day, and so I'm just gonna do it right now. I just went on a run. I usually do morning runs, but I didn't have time this morning. Um, it's been crazy, but I went, like 7:30 p.m. for a run, and I got back, and I was like, you know what? I have to let people know about this. So, um, I had this dream last night, and I okay. So, in this dream, I was a student, and I was in a classroom where the teacher was, having me work with another student. And the other student was being very snide and disrespectful and really rude. And the teacher wasn't doing anything about it. Um, and she was being rude as well with him. So I lashed out because I was hurt and mad at the same time. And so that right there is something that you need to be aware of is do not fall into the provoking. Stay calm. Stay calm. Woosah it for my old school people that actually remember. Bad boys. Woosah. So, um, another part of the dream was I had to walk with the teacher and some of the other students to get to a car that was parked on the street. And I'm in Utah, so we have winters. Last winter was insane. So it was wintertime, and snow piled up on the side of the roads and stuff like that. So this is where it was kind of at, just kind of giving you an idea of what the road conditions were like. So we're told that we need to get in this car, and they start the car up, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat waiting for the car to warm up, and it starts driving with no one in the driver's seat. I'm the only person in the car, and I'm the passenger. And it starts driving, and it's heading down the street, and it's heading up a hill, and there's like all these other cars going by and all of these people, pedestrians walking by. And I uh, I got worried because I'm like, well, this is not my car. And so I somehow like get my foot over to like stop it and turn it around and take it back to the owner. And when I got there, um, I was able to get it turned around. And when I got there, they were mad and accused me of trying to steal the car, and then blamed me for the car being ruined because right when I turned around and looked back, the car was the whole frame of the car was gone. Just the seats and just like the interior of the car were there, but everything else was just gone. Wasn't there. And so I was surprised as well and hurt and angry again for me trying to explain myself and tell them that I didn't do anything. It started going. I had no control over it. I brought it back. Why would I steal a car and then turn around and bring it back? That's just ridiculous. So, it was something that I realized that this is a part of where I know I am, but if you're watching this, then maybe you are as well. You're at a crucial point in your shift. You're right there and you're ready to take that next step, and it's a big step. It's not just a small movement. It's like a commitment. It's a real thing. And you're ready to do this. And getting away, you're going forward with something, whatever it may be, and you get scared and you turn around and you go back. And I myself have done this so many times because, you go back to what you know, safety. It's just easier to stay in the cycle, the repeat. But this is that crucial moment where you can choose to go back. And if you go back, then you're just going to have to explain yourself. You're going to feel like crap. And then things are going to fall apart. Get the symbols, So, this is just something that I know that I'm going through, and I'm kind of like at that breaking point of where it's like, I'm breaking free from the old me, what I used to be and how I used to show up. And I am committing to showing up for myself, but also for anyone out here right now that will practically see my videos. I am committing to actually showing up full out. And I don't know what that may look like. Right now it's just YouTube videos while I'm, figuring it out. But, if that's all I can do right now, at least that's all I can do. But I'll still do my best to post a video every single day. I don't know what they're going to be about, but I'll definitely post it. So, I say all this because of the fact that I want to help other people from my life experiences. I have all these little like aha moments, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I had somebody to tell, because I don't. But that's also my choice, because I realized that I was not being the best version of myself to others, and also I needed to change my life completely. So I had to do like a complete system reboot. So, so because of that, I, take and I watch other people's work, and I get involved in workshops and stuff like that. And yesterday, I had a lot of triggers that went off for me. And it was something that I had to work through, those triggers. And so I think a lot of people are experiencing consistent triggers. You're like getting all these different triggers. And for me personally, I lived in triggers. I didn't know that's what they were. I didn't. That was just normal for me. I didn't know that was an actual, like, there was an actual word for it, and that, like, you weren't supposed to feel them. You're actually supposed to have like a neutral feeling, if not like a baseline of who you are. And yeah, I was in constant trigger. So for me, I started to realize that my triggers were something that are a blessing for me, because it helps me see where I need to put a little bit more love in those areas. And so it's something that I'm reading from my journal a little bit, because that way I don't have it all memorized. I have too much stuff in my head as it is to remember what I'm going to talk about. I kind of need a little bit reminder, because yeah, I'll get there to the flow state eventually. But my first video is that I well, I think that's like my second one. My first video was very short and sweet. Second video was fear based because, I was going through so many triggers yesterday that I wasn't paying attention to them. I was normal routine, shove them aside. I'll get to them later. If I even remember later, it wasn't until this morning that I really looked at them. I was like, oh, hey, yeah, I know you. You're my trigger. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I know you live with me. You're one that stick by. Yeah, you're a close one. Yeah. So, it was something that, all of these ones I have to, I have to look at. And I have to really say, okay, these are feelings. And I understand that they're feelings. And I see you. And I accept you for what you are as a feeling. Now, once I acknowledge that feeling, then I have to move through it. Why am I feeling this way? Well, okay, I'm feeling this way because it reminds me of this. Okay. Acknowledging that trigger, usually the trigger comes from some kind of, inner child wound, inner trauma situation. And so taking the time to see, hear, and love that trigger, that part of me that is needing it. I found that there are 3 different key tools that have helped me. Which, if you struggle with these 3 things, I recommend that you only practice one at a time, because trying to do all of them can be a little bit overwhelming, as it says 12:21 on my clock. It's so true though, because I'm an overachiever. I try to do all 3, and then I get frustrated with myself because of the fact that I'm not doing the best that I feel like I should be doing. And yeah, spiral. So I recommend, so that you actually can get one down at a time, is to just focus on one until that one becomes natural. When I say natural, I mean it's not one of those things that you're like, okay, am I doing it? Am I doing this? You catch yourself if you aren't actually, if you are not being this way, you're like, wait a minute, that wasn't very nice. So, the first one is patience. I know. I struggle with that one. I thought I had patience. Come to find out, I really did not have patience. And this is a hard one. Patience is a very hard one, because just because you say you have patience, I've got patience, I can wait. Try Tai Chi, or get behind someone driving that is slow. Do that and tell me you have patience. Because patience is very difficult to master. And it's one of those things that, you have to really work on. I still have, moments where I even with my kids, I have to be very patient with how they do things and not try to rush them. My son especially, he sometimes struggles with that, and I have to be very patient with him to allow him to try and mess up. And that's the same thing that you have to do with yourself. You have to be very patient with yourself in learning something new and working through your triggers and not reacting to people and taking your steps forward. The second one is kindness. that one, it's easier to be externally kind than it is to be internally kind. And I say that because sometimes some of us have an internal dialogue that we're not aware of. Like, we are aware of it to some extent, but it's become so ingrained, so programmed into us that it's autopilot. And for me, I had other things that I picked up from other people. I was told certain things, and because I believed them, they became mine. So they became part of the record that was playing in my head. And so it didn't matter. Sometimes there were things that, if I made a mistake or if something happened, there were words that automatically happened that were said that I didn't know actually were said. They were just there. So with that one, what I recommend, and this is something that I've been doing with my kids, because it's easier to do it outwardly, I found. It's harder to catch yourself, like to be like self-aware of all the things that you say, because if you have ADHD like me, I got chaos up in here, man. It's like a circus. Like all over the place. So it's harder to, sit back and be aware all the time. It's exhausting, really and truly, too. If I'm going to sit there and be like aware of every single thing that's being said. And if you're like me, I'm just like, yeah, that's overwhelming. I'm not going to even I'm not going to even attempt that. So what I found was that with my kids, I could notice them, saying something that was not very nice, because siblings, right? will say some pretty harsh stuff to each other. And so I would point that out to my kids. And it got to be kind of like a game with my kids. I'm laughing because they still, that's negative, I'm like, hey, I'd be like, please don't say negative things. And so like, we all kind of like started pointing out to each other, that's so negative, Mom, that was very negative of you. And so it kind of started out that way. And so, because we became aware of other people, like everybody else's negativity in their words, it kind of like changed in the aspect that it created a self-awareness. So the self-awareness was created in other people, which then I asked my kids, to kind of change how they would say something, try and explain to them, what the correct way of saying that instead of such harsh and rude way. How to rephrase it, how to reframe it. And then when I did that, I started noticing, how I was saying things. It was something that then we kind of all started picking up on the tone in our voices even more. It got deeper in that aspect. So like once we started noticing tone, we were able to tell each other, hey, that sounded a little bit rough, or that sounded a little bit aggressive, or I didn't feel very comfortable with the way that you said that. And that like opened up a whole new way of the fact that when I started saying things, I was noticing what I was saying to my kids. Like I was going, oh wait, like I would say something to them And then I'd be like, wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that because that just didn't sound right. So let me change that. So once we got to that step, I swear we're getting there. Once we got to that step, then we actually kind of moved on to a whole different level of where we all kind of became more self-aware of what we were saying out loud. I don't know if if they have gotten to this point. I haven't really asked because I need to. But I noticed in myself that I started catching myself. So my middle daughter loves Valorant and plays online, and so she would constantly tell people that, you know, I'm new, I'm not good, I'm really not good, you know, like I'm trying, I suck, you know. And so and it bothered me so much because it was like, yeah, of course you suck because you've already told yourself that you suck. If you keep saying I suck, then you're going to suck. It's just, you know, and so it, you know, was something that at one point she caught herself and was like, you know, if I keep saying it, then yeah, I'm gonna suck. So, you know, she's kind of now moving that to a different direction. Now, for me internally, that became something that I catch myself now whenever I say things internally, like if I'm like, that's stupid. Like, are you really gonna try that, Sheena? And it's like, I'm like, whoa, wait. So I stopped myself in that moment, and I actually role play with myself, and not in that crazy kinky kind, dirty minds, but it, like, I will kind of be like the parent and the child, you know, like I talk to myself like I am a child, like that wasn't very nice, you know, like a teacher would to a student in a way, you know, like, or a parent to their child, like I'm doing to myself. That wasn't very nice, Sheena. Like, I think you need to change how you said that. And I will actually, like, I say those exact words out loud to myself, and then I say, okay, that sounds a little bit out there, but maybe we could try it, you know. Let's see, let's give it a shot, you know. And so I kind of have to really, you know, switch. And at first I felt pretty stupid. I'm not gonna lie, I felt pretty stupid. I'm like, am I really talking to myself like this? And so I just kind of was like, well, you know, if it's working, it's working. So I've noticed over time, and I don't catch everything. Do not think for a second that I'm like, ooh, ninja, I got it, you know, like, no, not at all. But I have gotten to the point now where I can actually catch them in, like, right when they start, you know. I will hear it, it's like a different voice now. I will hear, like, it's kind of like that little, like, Mean Girls, kind of like, you know, you can feel the energy of it. Like, it just is icky, you know, mean, abrasive kind of feeling. So when that voice starts to come in, like, I hear it and I'm like, whoa, not today. And I actually stop it. And it's nice. It is nice because with so much going on up there, it's one less crazy negative thing to pop up. And also, the third thing that you really have to, like, this will kind of help lower all those triggers, and those voices, like those, the mean voice, or like the replays that play in your head, all the sayings and all the things that you hear, you tell yourself all the time, which aren't really you. It's just energy. The third thing is understanding. I don't know about other people, but I'm a why person. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because I have to understand. I have to know why. You can tell me something is good for me, but I need to understand why it's good for me, because I can't take your word for it. I can't I will not believe you until I actually have some kind of solid information. And don't give me because I said so. That shit don't work on me. I'm sorry. I won't. Then I just won't listen to you, period. But I have to understand to be able to get behind it. And so for me, understanding why those triggers happen and why those voices happen, it's all linked to something that I went through, some trauma that I had, or some experience, or some situation, whatever it may be. They're all interlinked. Everything is interlinked. Tiny little interlinking connections between everything. So once you kind of get an understanding, the power isn't as strong, because it's like you actually can kind of prove it wrong. So, you know, it's triggers are not fun. They're really not fun. I see them as like contractions. I've had 3 kids, and if you have someone, know someone, or are someone that has had contractions, that's what triggers are like. They're painful, and they don't stop until you do something about them. So, you know, they're something that you have to stay consistent with, and you have to breathe through them, and you actually have to deal with it for you to get through it. So, which is very true with contractions altogether. You know, you have to breathe and deal with it. But, you know, those 3 things, doing those 3 things, I can tell you will help out a whole hell of a lot. And the understanding part is not just like, well, why does that bother me? Because he did this to me, or she did that to me. You know, the understanding part is really understanding your role in it and why it hurts so deeply. Not just like this situation happened to me, and because of that I'm in so much pain. No, really, like, understand and go all the way back. There's always some like root, like basic main event that kind of happened, that kind of started it. Like, and so, you know, really kind of like playing the, you know, where you backtrack it and you reverse engineer is what I was looking for. You reverse engineer and you follow the pattern all the way back. That's when you actually have like a real understanding. That's the understanding that I'm talking about. Like a deep, deep, deep understanding. Not like a subsurface level of where, because she told me that my dress was not pretty. Well, No, there's more to that one than it's like way down there. You gotta peel the layers, kind of understanding. So once you kind of like put all three of those together, then it's the contractions stop. The trigger contractions. I wouldn't say completely because of the fact that you're still going to get triggered by different things, but it has no intensity where you react to it, like earlier in the dream where I was, lashing out. It's when you are still like highly like involved in that pain, do you lash out? When you feel like still feel it so raw, that's when you lash out. So with that, going through these motions helps it so that you don't feel the need to lash out because you're kind of like, doesn't really hurt anymore. So, okay, whatever. So, I just wanted to share some of these insights and, help out other souls. And hopefully, what I share with you, does help. And know that I'm here for you and I love you.